All right, we're flowing. Chug your water.
Chug
Get
it.
hydrated.
Running. Oh, look at you. What is that, a nitro?
Absolutely.
Ooh,
I
jealous.
was gonna have a third coffee at home, and I was like, you know what? It's hot. It's hot. So let
Mm-hmm.
me stop at Starbucks after the school drop off.
School. The boys are, what are the boys doing?
Braden has extended school year, so that he has
Okay.
half days through July.
All right.
Yeah.
So, daddy duties fueled by
Yeah.
coffee. Love it. I just jumped off
Exactly.
our 90-minute EOS meeting, Entrepreneurial
Okay.
Operating System meeting.
For those of you who remember not too long ago our episode with Jason,
Yep.
that's one. He's an implementer for that. Now he's not your implementer at
No,
the company,
he's
right? Okay.
he's not. And at this point, we just run it, but look to bring an implementer in, maybe
Okay.
once a year or something.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, and it's
Anyways,
not perfect, but we cycle.
we're a little crunched for time today,
Yep.
so we'll jump into it. We don't really have a topic, so to speak, like we ever really do. But I've been listening to a lot of Hormozi the last few weeks. I think he's just been on a run,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got about 40 minutes left of this 4 hour one he did with Chris Williamson, which is really, really, really good. But a few things he said on that yesterday gave me some inspiration for what we can talk about today. And it wasn't even necessarily something he said. So, for anyone who doesn't know, him and his wife are expecting a child, I believe this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they got into that a little bit, but he was talking about, he actually went into more detail. And believe me, I've heard hundreds of hours of this guy. He's someone I've been following for nearly a decade now. Um, he has never gone into so much detail on his backstory and the trials and tribulations it took to get where he is now. And he's, I think, mid-30s now. But there are a few things he was saying in that, alongside talking about expecting a child. It kind of gave me pause. He was saying, don't compare your journey to anyone else's, because everyone has different challenges, everyone's at different places. And I was like, he was talking about expecting a child. I was like, man, I've got, and you've got even more than me, experience of and wisdom when it comes to parenting, when it comes to raising a human being or two human beings, raising a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, yes, he's way ahead of me in some areas. And again, I'm not comparing, but it's really interesting. We have so much to bring to the world, so much experience, so much wisdom and knowledge. And I think we need to remind ourselves of that sometimes. It's the gap and the gain, right? It's like, all
Yep.
right, I may not be along the journey in this respect, but man, I've put the time in now to to get to where I am in other areas. And it was really kind of, it was a nice. I remember I was standing, I was making some dinner, and I had a smile on my face. I was thinking, man, I'm actually so far ahead in life
Mm-hmm.
in some of the areas that are so important to me. And sure, I'm not where I want to be in others, but that's okay because look what I've built over here.
Yeah, your chapters, you might have similar chapters, but they show up in different parts of the book depending on what you've
Yeah, love that.
prioritized.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I build that off of kind of the saying of, don't compare your first chapter to somebody's 10th chapter. But I really look at it a little bit more detailed than that. Like,
Yeah.
we all have similar chapters, right? In this human being race, there's, you know, only several major large buckets that things fit into for all of us.
Yeah.
And they just show up at different points in our story and our journey as proof of what our priorities were
Yeah.
and are. And actually, someone could have had the same priority but framed it differently, and the chapters look totally different. I prioritized my family, taking care of my family. So here's the chapter where the family was totally neglected, but there was money coming in and a business
Yeah.
being built. But here's the same chapter where the the different person said, I'm prioritizing my family and taking care of my family. And it's full of time together, right? And family feeling like number one, but maybe stressed because work or money wasn't flowing in a specific way. So
Yeah.
just had my hand in front of the mic. Um, there's no right or wrong. There's always just data.
Yeah. Yeah. And, he was even saying by the time the baby's born, his parents are going to be billionaires.
Mm.
And he was like, yeah, there's something about that I don't like. And I was kind of thinking to myself, yeah, you can look at it both ways, right? There's positives to it that you have ungodly amounts of wealth that you can afford to bring your child with you everywhere, private jets, cut down on commuting times, and just not work when you don't want to work. But at the same time, you have to deal with there are downsides to wealth and fame and things like that. Whereas someone like Mason or Braden is looking at their dad and seeing him build from scratch, and they get to witness that and hopefully will model the same thing. And then they talk about that generational kind of cycle of a generation that builds and has it, and then a generation that's born into that, so they don't know what it's like to have to build, and it's very hard to actually keep a dynasty going because of that. And you have to really respect the families that have kept wealth for generations and generations, because they've managed to figure that out to some degree.
Yeah.
But everything has challenges, and like you said, every chapter is going to be different for everybody else, and the goal is we all get to the same place. How you get there, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. How do you feel when you've reached there? Right? What are you saying to
Yeah.
yourself inside? How does your heart feel? How does your soul feel? Is it full of, I wish I hadn't tried that or done that? Or is it full of, what if I had? Right? Is it, and that's from risks in business to time commitments to family to honoring you as an individual. And we don't know, like you said, like you just don't know until you do it. And I think if we can have compassion for ourselves along the way, because this is in so many coaching calls, people just regretting decisions that they made, and I made a mistake and I made a change and it was a mistake. Like there's you didn't make a mistake, right? Like it's just you tried something, you got data from it, it wasn't what you were looking for. The mistake is when you don't shift from that point, when you know something's not working or not right. That's the mistake, that's the failure, when you don't go, okay, good, bad, there's really no indifferent. It was good or it's bad. It's either moving you forward or it's keeping you still and holding you back. Just give grace to yourself. You tried something, you made a decision. You might even known it probably was not the best decision when you were doing it, but you made it to do it. Take the data and move on from it and move forward and use it to make the next better decision.
Yeah.
But I think the amount that people beat themselves up and then even worse get stuck.
Yeah.
Or get stuck because of perception, right? People are going to see me do one more move or one more change or one more relationship or one more whatever. And then they just would rather sink into no one noticing, like not taking action, because then no one will judge them. And then that's just like that comfort zone where it's not painless. It's just the pain, and that is an exhausting place to be.
Yeah. Well, and did you get a chance to watch the Gary and Ed's
I watched
episode?
a lot of it, but no, not the whole thing.
Yeah. One of the big pieces of it was self-awareness,
Yeah.
and there's a skill that I feel like I've always been good at, and I've really worked on it. But it really is true when you look at past decisions you've made, past choices you've made, as long as you have the self-awareness to say, okay, I take accountability for the choices I made, good or bad. This is the lesson I can learn from it.
Hmm.
If I need to make amends, I'll go and do that with anybody that I wronged when I made those decisions. And as long as you have the self-awareness to do that, instead of thinking that you're above everybody and, oh yeah, fuck that guy, like whatever, he deserved that. No, probably not. And maybe, but you still, if you did wrong, you've got to have the awareness to say, I did wrong, I was wrong.
Mm.
And to your point, everybody's is kind of, they get paralyzed by the the fear of, oh, like you said, what if they notice I'm changing businesses again, or what if they judge that choice I made 5 years ago. Have the self awareness to say it doesn't matter. It
Yeah.
it I know who I am.
Yes. And the self-awareness to know who you are, and then look at it where it's becoming a pattern. If there's decision, like if there's a pattern that's forming, like you're showing up, you're having to apologize for the same thing multiple
Yeah.
times. Um, that's a big check there. I was watching something this morning, and I can't even say who it was, but it was like, you can't, going into a relationship or being in a relationship being worried about if that person's going to wrong you or betray you or one of those things, like it's wasted time. Like you can't control that other person. All you can trust is that you are capable of handling it if that person does do something,
Yep.
right? Intentionally or non-intentionally. um and I think that's, one of our favorite topics, which is environment. Coming back to, like, if something keeps happening, whether it's someone else keeps doing something and it's in your environment and you're being reactive to it, and it's part of your world and it doesn't work for you, or you keep doing something based off of something in the environment, again, it's on you. You're the one
Yeah.
keeping yourself in that environment. And I know that there are extreme situations where it is hard to get out of certain environments, right? You're born into a certain household or places that you live. um I have gotten myself into environments that have been challenging to get out of because I gave away my financial power. I kept giving up things to hope that that person would see, that was my devotion. um
Yeah.
so I'm not saying that that's always easy, but it is always back on us to go, okay, if I keep showing up this way and this is not the way that I want to show up, and I am being reactive or responding to an environment, is it something that I need to fix within the environment, or do I just need to remove myself from the environment or
Yeah.
change the environment? Because that's all you can control.
Yeah. That actually came up on the Williamson Hormozi episode yesterday. They were talking about how in Vietnam, I think it was like
Mm,
25% of the soldiers out there were doing heroin.
mm,
They came back to the States, and only 10% of that 25% had any kind of continued use of it.
yeah. Wow.
When you compare that to figures from rehab, I believe the fail rate is about 78%, is
Mm,
what they said in the episode. And I don't
yeah.
know if they're 100% on those numbers, but essentially an 8x improvement just by changing the environment. Because
Yes.
that often happens, right? Is you you do all this self work, whether that be through dealing with addictions, or maybe it's financial pressures or financial decisions you make, being around the wrong people. You go out and waste money or whatever, or you keep getting involved with the wrong romantic partners, whatever it is.
Hmm.
You can do all this self work. Maybe you go away to a retreat, you go away to a conference. We see it all the time with conferences,
Yep.
right? Get around an environment of everybody who's on the same wavelength as you. They want to improve, they want to do all this work. And then you go home and it's like, I get back into the same routine, the same decisions, the same triggers. And yeah, the environment's a big one to change.
The energy exchange is different. right? Like
Yeah.
when you're in, let's go back to the conferences, right? There's an energy exchange that is resonating, and you're fueling other people and they're fueling you. And things at home that seem like so outrageous to reach, you're in rooms where like that's normal,
Yeah.
and you're jazzed and you're pumped and you're ready to take it on, and you go home. I mean, we see this with partners a lot, right? They didn't go to the same retreat. They don't have the same visions. They didn't exchange the same energies. You come back
Yeah.
here, they're still here. They didn't do anything wrong. They're just steady, right? Like they held down the fort while you were gone. But now there's a huge mismatch of energies. And so it's just a matter of how much can your partner, romantic or
Yeah.
business, raise their vibration, their energy, and how much of yours can kind of settle down from probably that heightened mode, and can you meet somewhere? And it doesn't have to always match for the same goal, but that energy exchange becomes so powerful. And you see this in couples, and you see this in business partnerships. You either get someone that's here and they keep kind of running back to try to help pull that other person forward. But if that person is cool vibrating at that frequency, like, and they might love you and really want to try, but like it's too much energy for them to try to vibrate there. Like if, so it's
Yeah.
environment, it's what you're doing, it's who you're surrounding yourself with, it's the content you're consuming, it's your, what does your calendar look like? Um, it's, it's all energy. The whole universe is all energy.
Yeah.
And it's why we often come back to these, what we used to call woo woo. And I feel like we don't even have to hashtag it woo woo anymore, because it's been so
Right.
scientifically proven that when we're struggling, and if you're struggling right now, wherever you're struggling in your life, really take a hard look at what's in your environment, from where you're living to what your desk looks like, to your home, to your friendships, to your partnerships, to your romantic relationships, and like what's supporting you and what's not. And then
Yeah.
do you want to make a change, and what could you do?
Yeah. And even just little things. I'm going more in the health direction here, but
Mhm.
something I'm going to talk about at the event in a couple weeks. Things you can do to change the environment in your house. Little things like changing out all the light bulbs. Don't
Mhm.
use LED light bulbs. Use incandescents. The wavelengths of those LEDs are really, really bad for you.
Mm.
They're very kind of stop and start and jaggedy. Talking about
Mhm.
energy and frequencies. And if you want to see it in action, take your phone, put it on slow mo, and film a light bulb in your house, and you'll
Yeah.
see it will be flickering. You may not be processing that visually, but your nervous system is aware of it. Your brain's kind of filtering that out and smoothing it out for you. So, one, that's work your brain's having to do, and your nervous system is now heightened. So, just think about that. You're then going to bed, your nervous system's up, and then what do? You go on your phone, which is more blue screen light, and that
Yep.
also flickers. The phone screens flicker now. I think they changed the screens, like iPhone 13, I think was the last panel they had that didn't flicker like that.
Mhm.
My understanding is MacBooks aren't, so I actually spend more time doing stuff on my MacBook than instead of my phone,
Yeah.
especially before bed. Blue light glasses, so if you are on your phone, you're at least filtering some of that stuff out. But
Yep.
again, we're just changing our environment because, and it's the point I'm really, really in my practice and my messaging right now is I really want to drive this home that we spend a lot of time talking and thinking about this mental side of the nervous system, but there is an onslaught of stuff from the food you're consuming, the
Mm.
water you're drinking, to the environments you're in, all the toxins and everything like that.
Mhm.
We can do all these little things to that accumulate and help you make those mental things more efficient, and they will actually succeed.
Yeah. And it is the small things. Like people think they have to do these big,
Yeah.
huge, massive things, which is what prevents them from doing anything. It's kind of a crutch. But I want to share two things. One was an image I saw on, I was watching Friends and Neighbors,
Hmm.
and there was a point where, was it that? A baby was strapped, right? Like in a baby
Yeah.
Bjorn, and the mom was on the phone. like this, holding the phone away. Like the baby's head is right here. And I'm going, oh my God, right? Like we know we're not supposed to have our phones close to our heads. So like she's talking on speakerphone, but the phone is literally right above the baby. And how many
Yeah.
parents have their kiddos strapped in and like they're literally holding the phone right at like the brain of their
Yeah.
child? That was one. Two, for those of you who are watching this, I have a palm plant over there,
Hmm.
and that plant, well, all my plants made the move from the old house. It was over here by Brutus, my dog, and it was okay, but I was like, the leaves don't look like happy to me. That's the only thing I could say. I moved it, I don't know, 12 feet across, 15 feet across within about a week and a half. And you can see a very green back right now. The plant sent up a new huge frond that was all rolled up, and it has been unfolding, and it unfolded about 2 days ago. And that was literally just a shift from one side of the room to the other.
Yeah.
And I have another plant that I thought was dead because it was kind of forgotten as I was doing the move, and it was too big to stick in the car. It actually drove in the Jeep with the top down, sticking out the top. And I'm like, well, there's still one leaf left, and I'm going to do my best. And we brought it here. My mom's like, oh, I'm pretty sure it's dead. Felt dead. But I'm like, the leaf isn't falling off. I'm going to just keep it here in the window in the sun, keep it watered. And sure enough, about a week and a half ago, little tiny green leaves started coming up the top. So
Nice.
it's slowing down enough to, sorry, that's getting me emotional. That's so crazy. Things are worth nurturing.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a change of environment that's needed.
Yep.
Closer to the sun, fresher air,
So sorry. I think it
and
was,
more importantly, don't give up on yourself,
yes.
because that a lot of us do that, right? And sometimes all it takes is just making that new friend or having that one conversation that changes your environment.
Yeah.
I
Give,
can't. If ever you're and I do it all the time. I'm like I'm working and working and working. I'm like, oh, I just feel drained. Just go outside,
yeah.
5 minutes, walk.
Yep.
I mean, there's physiologically the sun charges your mitochondria.
Yeah.
So it's literally recharging you, and it's just I think we overthink all of this stuff.
We do. We so do. And it's so the simple things, this 15-minute walk that I've been doing in the morning,
Yeah.
just the silent walk. If I can get 30 minutes in, I'll do it. But even just 15 minutes, like, is
Well, and I
healthy.
want to make that point.
Yeah.
Don't people think, oh, I can only do 5 minutes,
Yeah.
so it's not worth it. It's worth it
Yeah.
because it's compounding.
I didn't have time to do my walk this morning, but I had 5 minutes. So I grabbed my coffee. I went outside. I sat. My book is holding up my mic. Started my Bless and Release from
I
Danielle
saw that
Laporte.
post. Yeah.
Yep. And so, like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Do what you can. 30 seconds is better than nothing.
Yeah.
I had a coaching client who was having trouble sticking to a time block for making calls. It was 5 days a week, 2 hours a day. And last night he like sent me a white flag, like I'm failing. And he committed to 30 minutes this morning. And then that's it. He did the 30 minutes. And of course he started the 30 minutes and he just kept rolling. So he's accomplished more, but it's setting yourself up for success. And just quickly going back to like, things are worth nurturing, taking care of the things that you love, taking care of yourself. And also, like, as much as I am pro removing people from your life, painting them in white light and letting them go on, I am also saying, like, let's not give up on each other so quickly sometimes, and that's a whole other episode, but that emotion just hit me strong with I think the physical presence of seeing that other plant come back to life with a little bit of care. I I don't know. It just hit me because
Yep.
it's something that we talk about so much. So to see it really like unfold in a physical way was
Yep.
powerful for me at the moment. So
We're at time, so I'm waiting for your catchphrase.
take care of yourself. Take care of the things that are important to you. Nurture with the small things. And until next time, friends, bye for now.